Hi, my name is Aparna Moitra and I'm a doctoral candidate with the University of Delhi. I'll be representing the co-authors of this paper for sharing our experience of over 3.5 years with creating a mobile-based community media platform active in rural areas of central India. I would like to begin this presentation by briefly discussing the concept of community media and how it brings about impact. The basic premise of community media lies in the fact that people control their own media and are much better at knowing their own content needs than any other external media sources. A few examples demonstrating this can be community radio, participatory video, local newspaper, and in our own case, I'll talk about mobile phones. But before that, in order to understand and appreciate the concept of community media, I would like to explain the impact pathways it initiates. At this point, it is important to note that learnings and operational practices from this are applicable to any community-based tech intervention. So firstly, community media builds capacities of its communities to produce locally relevant content that leads to awareness. This awareness is more effective than awareness brought about by external media sources because it makes the content more relatable, easily understandable, and to add to it, the localized reinforcements help people better in adopting various practices, be it vaccination, hand washing, or a particular technique for rice cultivation. Secondly, community media aims to ensure representation across marginalized groups along the caste, class, and gender lines, empowering them to voice themselves, which, apart from making them more confident about themselves, also enables them to challenge local power structures. Thirdly, it provides people with a platform that enables them to talk about their issues and challenges and publicly demand an answer, which is an example that community media works towards strengthening the ideals of a democracy. And fourthly, community media also plays a role in community building by providing a forum for people to share their views and cultural expressions, thereby bringing communities closer through articulation of a shared identity. Our platform, MobileVani, currently works using an interactive voice response system where users give a missed call on a callback number to record their experiences and share information. The submitted responses and experiences are validated and moderated by MobileVani employees as per its editorial policies and published over the internet and the IVR. Other people then call into the callback number to listen to the validated information. There is also an attempt to connect these messages to concerned local institutions such as government, NGOs, social enterprise partners, etc. as per the need. In terms of the usage stats, since Mobile Money's inception in 2012, more than 1.5 million unique users have called from approximately 25 active districts in the states of Jharkhand, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. Further, the average call duration is more than 8 minutes per call, and 12% of MobileVani users have contributed at least one voice report. Entirely for funding constraints, the MobileVani team has had to impose quotas to restrict the daily call volume currently to 10,000 calls per day. We now come to the three essential pillars that form the core strength of MobileVani. And my entire presentation is essentially about our innovations in this sphere in terms of content processes, field operations, and institutional linkages. Content processes not just include policies related to moderation, but also keeps up in terms of understanding diverse information needs of users to present them with relevant content. The skill we are trying to hone is to create processes that allow us to encourage more user-generated content on the lines of information people need and do this exercise in a repeatable manner. Field processes are important because users need to be informed about the system, trained and nudged to call on MobileVani. We have encountered our fair share of operational and human resource challenges while trying to make this work. Processes have been invented, yet there are significant challenges faced in doing this work in a low-cost manner through community volunteers. Institutional linkages form an important pillar because MobileVani needs to come out of its virtual space and network with institutions in order to translate communication to on-ground action. Mentoring volunteers helps with this as it gives the platform a social character and trust needed to do this exercise. I'll now talk about the content processes in detail. As Mobile Vani started functioning, processes were initiated for regular assessment of content contributed over the platform. Initial assessments revealed that users were contributing assorted content, out of which the percentage of grievance content was the highest. We realized that it was because most mobilization was done by our partners who were rights-based NGOs. However, when a survey of user information needs was done, we found that content most in demand was the content related to education and career counseling, information related to government schemes, etc., contrary to the grievance and allied content that was abundantly available on the platform. Therefore, measures were taken to change the nature of content on the platform so that more user-generated content comes along the lines of users' information needs. So, in terms of change management, first of all, focused community mobilization was done to increase the diversity of user base. Local NGO partners were replaced by in-house team of community mobilizers to build their own offline network. Volunteers from diverse backgrounds were recruited such as farmers, health workers, teachers, etc. It was observed that the diversity of volunteer base directly translates into the diversity of user base and consequently variety in content recorded by the users. Content underwent repackaging. Just like a radio station, an editorial bias was induced by allotting different topics dedicated time slots each day. Grievance and assorted content was provided limited exposure by confining it to fewer slots each day. At this point, we have very institutionalized user feedback loops that alert us to users' changing content needs and information-seeking trends, helping us work towards it. As a result of these steps, a reduction in grievance content was observed, along with a surge in entertainment and news-related content, and a consistent supply of women and health-related content was also observed over a period of 3 years. Our emphasis on user-generated content comes with our belief that narratives obtained through user-generated content lead to an increase in contextual relevance of the content. It is because when people state their own narratives that are rooted within the same cultural background and cite local examples and instances, others listening to them find it easier to relate to. This helps in getting across the point easily. This has better capacity for yielding behavior change over the longer term. Therefore, in order to systematize it, we have invented the campaign process that I'm now going to talk about. We have created different campaign formats. For example, on the topic of early marriage, we created a drama series and charted the story of a young girl who was married early into her childhood. We situated the drama in the local context by portraying challenges and family situations prevalent in the community where this drama was to be aired. We released 2 episodes per week and anchored questions to the topic that the drama discussed in particular episodes, such as the impact of early marriage on girls and boys, the reasons initiating young girls into marriage, and that got people to engage in discussion. As some people said, it happens due to financial constraints in the family, they have to spend less on dowry. Others believed it was purely a social norm. Due to this opinion and experience exchange initiated within the community, others who were earlier just listening to the campaign felt more compelled to join in the discussion. We found such a method was more effective than generating discussion around content which had been supplied to us from a mass engagement standpoint, such as a centrally produced TV series. I'll share only a single user quotation here, among others, which portrays that the community understands the relevance of having a discourse, as Champa Devi, a housewife and a mother of 2 children, points out that not much has changed even after the campaign, but she recognizes the fact that it is important to initiate discussions on such topics for the people to understand the difference between good and bad practices. The campaign format discussed previously falls in the domain of planned campaigns. However, spontaneously emerging campaigns entirely initiated by users also take place on Mobile Vani. An important point to note in the case of planned campaigns is that while triangulation of perspectives of different stakeholders is taken into account while creating the content plan, Information completeness for the spontaneously emerging campaigns is entirely taken care of by the diverse user base of Mobile Vani. For instance, a month-long strike by the school teachers on contract, also known as para-teachers for wage increment in Jharkhand, was carried out that suspended all teaching activity throughout the state. The para-teachers began by sharing the strike updates and reasons for going on strike on Mobile Vani, and very soon the responses amassed views from other stakeholders such as students, parents, social activists, and government officials, thereby initiating a full-fledged campaign. As the table portrays, all these stakeholders shared their personal experiences and opinions by giving a wide variety of responses on Mobile Vani. Content published on the para-teacher strike was analyzed for regional media, and most of it was found to be around factual updates about strike, such as the location of strike. Therefore, co-ownership of Mobile Vani as a medium and shifts in the center of power were observed as different stakeholders disseminated what they feel was important, taking participation to a higher level. We will now discuss the offline activities required to mobilize communities. Offline mechanisms need to be followed in the absence of other communication channels in the media dark regions of Mobile Vani operation to build user base, demonstrate the use of technology, as previous studies have revealed that in-person trainings are most effective in helping people to successfully record a message on IVR, even more than phone-based interactions and definitely more than automated repeat phone calls. Further, users need to be nudged to use the system so that they can engage with it and understand the relevance of the platform. This is done by habituating the users with multiple interactions by means of repeat workshops and by sufficiently penetrating into the community such that people keep on hearing about it from other users and are motivated to use the platform themselves. The way we typically do it is by having feet on ground. A structure of hyperlocal volunteer clubs has been created for which regional coordinators who are employees of Gramvani enter new geographies using contacts with local NGOs where they identify and train vibrant community members as volunteers. We call them community volunteers because they are from the community and hence understand the community needs very well. Due to this, they are able to come up with relevant use cases. I'll detail this out later. And then, as soon as 5 to 8 such volunteers are identified in a district, a volunteer club is formed. A club coordinator is appointed among them, and the club takes care of the local mobilization activities as a single entity. We also have a financial incentive structure where volunteers are paid pro rata to user traction and project participation. This kind of structure has been found to be very useful as opposed to the previous flat volunteer network where the regional coordinators had to coordinate with each volunteer individually because it has shifted the onus of community mobilization from an individual to the collective responsibility of all volunteers in a club. Financial incentives being pegged to the overall club performance and not individual performance can also be attributed towards bringing a greater degree of compliance by the volunteers. I am now showing you the cost per user acquisition for clubs calculated in rupees, which has a wide variation even after uniform community mobilization processes in place. According to this graph, the better performing clubs are the clubs to the left that have the lowest cost per user acquisition. We found that the volunteers for these clubs were the ones having a stable source of income, due to which their main motivation of engaging with Mobile Vani was not financial incentives but learning new skills and professional development. As we can see here, the clubs in the middle have relatively higher cost of user acquisition. These clubs have volunteers from lower economic background. Monetary incentives were found to be an important parameter in their commitment that often led to dissatisfaction among volunteers on financial incentives. The clubs in the right that have the highest cost per user acquisition belong to women. They are very dynamic, but social inequities and cultural dynamics reflect directly on cost structure. Moreover, clarity and consistency of communication by Mobile Vani's own regional coordinators and frequency of following up with the volunteers also plays a significant role in volunteers' motivation and performance. This is a human resource management challenge. This raises a dilemma as to what kind of volunteers to recruit, whether to recruit economically well-off volunteers who are easy to recruit, have high return on investment, but bring in more users from similar backgrounds, or to recruit volunteers from marginalized and poor backgrounds where more effort is involved due to social dynamics. It is expensive but brings in more diversity in user base and empowers these populations. These are questions in line with goals that organizations may choose pragmatically based on financial sustainability or other standpoints to consider if and when investment or grant money comes through. How should the growth and financial sustainability of such platforms and media in general be determined? Another related question being, what kind of incentives should be there for volunteers? Should we have monetary markets where monetary payments are done in exchange for services, or social markets that rely solely on altruistic or social incentives such as identity, solidarity, and satisfaction? The club structure, where there is now a collective responsibility for community mobilization among volunteers, is probably one way of making a mixed market. Finally, we talk about the importance of creation of institutional linkages to translate communication to action and the role mentoring volunteers plays, that it gives the platform a social character and trust needed to do this exercise. The first institutional linkage that leads to initiating impact pathways for Mobile Vani stems from within the community and is collective action. Collective action works because stakeholders are from the same community and hence exert social pressure. Reports on Mobile Vani with support from on-ground volunteers have led to anti-alcoholism drives leading to closure of illegal alcohol shops, headmaster issuing a public apology for demanding bribe from students for issuing their examination and admit cards. In order to cater to the issues faced within their communities that are not resolved by the means of collective action, volunteers have undertaken many initiatives themselves. In different clubs, volunteers have built their own processes. I will take the government administration as an example, where the volunteers have networked with them to create informal as well as formal accountability loops that has brought a lot of social credibility to the platform. Similarly, volunteers in some cases have also facilitated question and answer with agricultural cooperatives for users, created programs to have candidates for village panchayat level or local governments elections read their manifestos and pitch themselves to the community, and posted job openings from local factories and industries to help provide local employment to people. This demonstrates that it's not just important to network with different institutions, but the need to have a close association with people like our own volunteers who understand their communities, their needs, and therefore can think of a multitude of relevant use cases for the technology. In terms of formal institutional linkages, Mobile Vani tries to initiate partnerships with government departments at the state level for recognizing grievances reported on Mobile Vani platform and work towards its resolution. For instance, Mobile Vani partnered with the Labour Department in Jharkhand that resolved a number of migrant labour grievances reported on the platform. In the same manner, partnerships with regional media have been undertaken to further add pressure on different institutions for varied causes. So, as concluding remarks, these are the 5 key takeaways that I'd want to leave you with. Firstly, having feet on ground and establishing regular feedback loops with the users helps the platform remain relevant. Secondly, user-generated content leads to content contextualization and completeness and needs to be systematized for replication. Thirdly, offline networks are important to train and nudge users to adopt a platform, but it is also a challenge to design incentives and select volunteers that are in line with the goals that organizations may choose pragmatically based on financial sustainability or other standpoints. Fourthly, there is a need to establish close associations with community members such as our volunteers who understand their communities, their needs, and therefore can think of various use cases for technology. And finally, there is a need for networking with local institutions so that media is deeply embedded into the community. Thank you.